What's going on, guys? Alex, and in today's video I want to talk about search loss impression share budget. One of the settings, one of the columns of data that you can add here on Google Ads in your campaigns section. If you have seen this, fantastic. If you haven't seen it, I'm going to go over why you should have it set, why it's useful, and how to use the search loss impression share budget to your benefit. By the way, if you need help with your Google Ads, if you're confused about how your campaigns are running, if you need someone to manage it, if you just want to get more leads and worry less about how your campaigns are performing, click the link down below, book a call with me. I'm happy to take a look at any of your accounts, any of your campaigns, answer any questions you may have, and of course, see if there's any opportunity to work together to grow your business. So I have an example here. As you can see in this example, search lost impression share for budget is 27.77%. Now, most of you have probably never seen this data displayed. You have to go into your columns and add it. So how you would add that is you would just click here on columns in the campaign window, click on modify columns, and what I just do every time is just search for budget, and you will see all the different options here, and you would just click search loss impression share budget. So what is it? Google will tell you right here. Basically, it's how often your ads didn't show in the results because of your budget. So basically, if you had a higher budget, if you were willing to pay more per click, you would have shown this percentage of times more than you currently did, than because of the budget that you do have, right? So basically, it's quite high, if the percentage is too high, right? So we can see here it's 27.7%. That means for almost 30% of the searches, which is actually way too high, there wasn't enough budget. So that would be probably because of the campaign structure. So I believe this campaign at the time was set to max clicks with a max CPC of something that was probably too low. But if you are getting enough data, for example, we have 140,000 impressions here, then this probably doesn't matter as much. But in a lot of areas, if it is above 10%, it's probably something to look into. So like Google tells you, it shows how many more impressions your ad could have received if your campaign had a higher budget. So there's an example here. If you had 10K impressions, but you had the loss impression share budget of 10%, right? So for this example, we lost out on maybe 14,000 impressions, and you can just do the math backwards with click-through rate to see how many clicks you lost out on just because your budget was too low. So it is important because it does show how much more reach you would have, how many more clicks you would get, how many more leads you would generate if you did go and increase your budget. It also shows you that there is room for campaign expansion. So a lot of clients, they will just set a certain amount each month for investing into the Google Ads campaign, and they'll say, that's all that you have, that's all you get. We don't care about if we can invest more. But if you can go back and show to your clients, or as ad campaign owners yourself, if you can go look and see that if you spent 30% more per click, right? So if you just increased your CPC by 30%, you would, in theory, get 30% more clicks. You don't necessarily, in this case, have to actually raise it by 30%, but it just does show that there is a little bit of wiggle room there if you do have a budget. Now, what you can do is break it down into campaigns to find out which campaigns are performing the worst based on this metric. There are other metrics to look into, which I will make videos about in the future, but that is just an example. And as you can see here, it does make it easy to find campaigns that are limited by budget rather than other factors like ad rank or targeting. And these aren't necessarily anywhere near as important as budget, right? And now why you would want to actually, where you would see the benefit of looking at this data points is because you are going to have a better chance with budget adjustments, right? If you do have an impression share loss of this much, of 30% or even 20%, right? There's definitely more room for budget. Now, on a campaign level, on an account level, you might find ones with 0% and you can have some wiggle room there, right? Anything under 10% is fine. It's acceptable. So if you're at 0%, maybe you take some budget out of that campaign and put it into this campaign to kind of bring the difference down, to bring it closer to the overall account average, right? It also can show you which campaigns have the most potential. So in this case, again, we do have 140,000 impressions. This campaign was performing quite well. Overall, not a terrible conversion rate. A few KPIs here that can be worked on, but for smaller campaigns or for areas where you do want more of a market share, again, there, you have this metric to worry about where, okay, you're at a point where your campaign is dialed in, you're converting well, everything's working well. Let's add, for example, let's increase our budget overall by 10% to see what difference it makes, to see how much more of the market we can break into, to see how much more of our competitors' auction share, impression share that we can actually stamp out in favor of our own, right? It's a huge opportunity there to kind of disrupt the market, at least in your own lane with the keywords and services that you are going after, right? It also can be useful for forecasting. It will tell you how many more impressions and clicks, for example, or conversions you could gain by increasing your budget. And of course, it will show you which campaigns are most constrained by budget. The reason they will be constrained by budget is two reasons. Either your competitors are bidding really aggressively, a lot more aggressively than you, driving cost per click up, or that you aren't spending enough, right? So if you see this above even 30%, if it's in the 50% range, like you're spending nowhere near enough, you're not showing up for half the searches. And again, if you have a small budget, that's completely fine. There are other things you can focus on, other optimizations that you could make, but this is just one of the key metrics to be looking at when you are moving forward with optimizing a campaign. Hopefully this was helpful, really straightforward, really quick video for you guys. Like I said at the beginning, if you do need help with anything with your Google Ads account, if you click the link down below, book a call with me. I'm happy to take a look at any of your campaigns, any of your accounts, answer any questions you might have, and see if there is any opportunity to work together. Otherwise, as always, you guys, I appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.